You may be wondering how you can rent your house quickly, but also get the highest monthly rent. So we're going to talk about that. First, you want to get a professional rental analysis done by a professional property manager so they can tell you what the comparables are out there, what's currently going on in your area. So getting good, solid information, not just guessing, is a very important place to start. Second, you want to get professional input on a few topics, again, from this property manager, which they'll typically be happy to talk to you about this for no charge as a part of the process. First of all, what are the market conditions in your particular area? It's maybe not the same as someplace that's 50 miles away. So you want to understand that will impact if you need to rent your property out quickly. Maybe you have to change your rental pricing strategy. So you just need to be aware of factors. Is the market hot? Is it slow? What's going on? Also, which fix-up is needed. This can save you a lot of money, actually, on both sides. What I mean by both sides is if your property is not clean and doesn't have the basic things taken care of, it can sit in the market for a long time, which can be expensive in terms of rent that it costs you and also mortgage payments that you're making for an empty house. So you want to kind of get that part right. But also some people over-improve the house. And so a professional can look at it and say, look, these are the things you need to do. It's typically the stuff that can get done in under a month. So the place needs to be clean, typically painted, sometimes carpets required, sometimes it just needs to be cleaned. But most professionals are not going to want to do a huge remodel of the home. That's usually not warranted. So talk to them first before you get involved in any projects, because this isn't a place that you're going to live. It's a rental property, and so get a professional's input. It can save you a lot of money. Then you need some professional service. And what I mean by professional service is after you've got the professional opinions, now you actually need them to do something for you. So first of all, prospects are going to respond to the marketing that's being put out there, and you've got to be available. And so a lot of times when people do it themselves, they're just not available. They don't get back to people, and people don't wait around. So you want a professional that can contact the prospects and be available. The second is, this is something people don't typically think about, but it's a very real deal, and that is prospects need to be able to relax. And so they may be very interested in responding to an ad if you're doing it for rent by owner, but sometimes they get freaked out if they talk to a private party because now they feel like they need to know all this stuff. They really like the idea of having a professional involved in the transaction so they know it's all going to be legal and everything's going to be above board, which isn't any comment about your integrity. It's just how people look at things. They get a little freaked out. And so what that eventually will do is it will reduce the pool of people that can potentially rent your house, which will then depress the amount of rental income that you can get, because instead of having 30 people interested, you only have 2, or instead of having 10, you have 1, or instead of having 5, you have 0. And that will mean that you have to drop your price. So a professional will pay for themselves many times over just on that aspect alone. Another thing that you want here is a professional to filter your prospects. So you can waste a lot of time going down a road with somebody, but unless you know their income, their job history, their credit, their criminal background, their rental history, all that sort of thing, you may spend all your time and energy running around in circles with this person. You may even rent to them, and it can be a very costly mistake. I've seen it many, many times. So you want a professional to help you filter the prospects. And finally, you want a professional to set you up and make sure that you don't end up with a mess in terms of contracts, because there's a lot of things you can do. There's federal requirements that you have to adhere to as far as fair housing, but there's also just things that protect your interests. And you want to make sure that you have something that's been attorney reviewed and property management savvy for you as the owner. And you don't want to just be printing something out there and trust me. Finally, a couple of pro tips. A lot of people come and they think that they're going to somehow, it's going to be beneficial for the house to be furnished, or they're bummed out because they don't want to have to move their furniture out. I will tell you that most people, and by most I mean almost all, long-term renters want to use their own furniture. They do not want yours in there. Plus, it presents a certain amount of liability. Your furniture is going to potentially get damaged. And so most property management companies are not interested in dealing with properties that's furnished. So it reduces the pool of people that can help you if you insist on it being furnished. And it also is going to greatly reduce the number of people that are interested in your property, which then is going to lead, therefore, to lower rent. So my recommendation is to find an inexpensive place to store the furniture or just outright sell it. And you're going to get a much higher price for it. And you'll get the place rented a lot faster as well. Unless it's a vacation rental, or it's a Airbnb situation, that's a totally different arrangement, in which case the furniture is an advantage, but that's a whole different situation than most property management companies want to deal with. And finally, you want to move out and you want to leave the place clean. Sometimes that's not possible to move out. Sometimes you don't have a place to go. But if you can, that will allow more showings to happen, for people to come and kind of visualize themselves in it, and they'll feel more comfortable. And it just needs to be clean, like a place that you'd feel comfortable moving into. It's not complicated. It typically only costs you a couple $100 to get a nice, thorough clean, but it makes a huge impression and makes a difference in terms of the rent that you're going to end up getting if you have a nice clean property.